Can you imagine spending $1 million, but it had to be done in 24 hours? Today we're going to talk about this based on a super popular viral YouTube video where someone had to spend $1 million in a day or they were going to lose it. How would you spend it?
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
I love Mr. Beast. I think his channel is so dope, it's genius. Basically, in one of his recent videos, he created a challenge that said, hey, the last person to leave this area is actually going to get $1 million. This kid takes all of the money that he gets from YouTube and he reinvests it into his channel in giveaways and cool challenges. I really enjoy watching his channel. Recently, though, he had a challenge that said, you've got just 24 hours to spend $1 million. And you only get it if you can spend it. And so I was actually watching the video with curiosity and I watched how the money was spent and I thought, man, there's some really dumb stuff going down in the world today. And what I want to do today is I want to share with you two scenarios of how you could spend $1 million in one day. And then I'm going to have you be the judge of which one is best. So we're going to play a game. By the way, you never know when you come into $1 million because I can teach you how to come into $1 million. You might not win it by playing a game or being on a game show. The reality is, $1 million is not what it used to be. $45,000 at the turn of the century was worth $1 million today. In 1980, $342,000 was equivalent to $1 million. $1 million is not what it used to be. In fact, I remember when I became a millionaire my first time, it meant that I had a 6-figure residual income, and I thought that was so cool. But today, I just want to continue multiplying my talents. I want to continue growing my wealth. Because the more money I have, the more options. That's all money is, more options. And the more options I have, the more choices. More choices, more cool things I can do with my life, the more people I can help, more of a difference that I can make. So I'm going to give you two scenarios today. First of all, scenario A. What would you do if you had to spend $1 million in a day and it looked like this? Number one, a lot of people are like, hey, I want to buy a house outright free and clear. So let's just say for a moment that you actually buy a $400,000 house. Certainly nice, right? Above average. And then you're thinking to yourself, you know what this house needs? This house needs $100,000 of furniture. So you're halfway to your goal. You've spent already almost half of that $1 million. And then you're thinking, you know what? This car came with a garage. I'm going to take $100,000. Boy, that's 1 0 too many there. I'm going to put $100,000 and I'm going to put it into a really fancy car. And then you're thinking to yourself, shoot, I'm at $600,000. It's 5 p.m. What do I do next? Well, you know what? I'm going to give $50,000 to my favorite charity. And then guess what? I've got $350,000 left over. Guess what you need to do with that money? You got to pay Uncle Sam. So I'm just going to call that the big man's tax. Boom. We spent $1 million, and what you got out of it was a house, furnished, and a car. And you got some feel-good feelies from like giving some money to charity, right? This is how most people, if they had $1 million to spend in 24 hours, this is what they would do with it. And by the way, you know what the problem with this is? I'm gonna see if you can figure it out. I'm gonna give you a different scenario though. This one is wildly different. Watching the rest of this video is really important because at the end, I'm gonna give you a tool that can actually help you make the most intelligent financial decisions even before you have that $1 million, even before you have $100,000. In fact, how do you get $1 million if you don't have it today? I'm going to show that. But first, here is your second scenario. Instead, what would happen if you bought 8 investment properties free and clear? That means paid off. These are roughly $110,000, $120,000 homes in a market where you're averaging a 10% cash on cash. Here's what cash on cash means. If I put $1 million into the marketplace and they are growing, first of all, if my cash on cash is 10%, then what's 10% of $1 million? This, my friends, is $100,000 a year. Or in other words, $8,000 a month. But in addition to the 10%, you're also growing your properties, let's just say by an additional 5% of annual growth. So that means that your $1 million this next year becomes worth $1,050,000. And the year after it becomes 1.1 million. and the year after it becomes 1.15, and then it compounds, and then that number expands. This is scenario B. Now, for some of you that are like, Kris, you just gave me a bunch of numbers. All I did was buy 8 paid off properties, and based on the cash flow, I'm making $100,000 a year. So for a moment, I could either write you $1 million check today, and you could consume it on consumables, and that money would be gone. Or you could take that money and you could invest it, and you could have $100,000 growing at 5% every single year, year over year, for the rest of your life, even beyond death. Which would you prefer? Now, honestly, you can make whatever choice you want, but for me, the choice is like incredibly clear. There's no way I'm just gonna blow it on stuff that, frankly, the house might go up in value, but it costs me money. Every dollar here is producing asset for me. Every dollar here is actually making me money. And I would rather have $100,000, because guess what I can do with $8,000 a month? I could say, hey, this is the wild part. Are you ready for this? I want to buy a $400,000 house, and I want to have a mortgage. That mortgage is going to cost you right around $2,000 a month. Here's the wild part. Just check this out. I want to furnish it, and I'm going to actually do it on loan. And those furnishings are now going to cost me, let's just say, $2,000 a month until paid off. And then the car, the last item. That car is going to cost you, let's just call it a payment of $1,000 a month. Well, guess what? For $5,000 a month, you still get the lifestyle. But in addition to the lifestyle, you've got an additional $5,000 left over every single month, right? So it's not about owning things outright free and clear. It's about control and access. In this scenario, I get to have the other life, but I have also $60,000 a year left over, which means if you were making 60 grand a year, you could quit your job, literally have all the nice stuff and not have to work. Does that make sense? Now, if you really want to learn how I do this for real, I've got a free copy of my book waiting for you. I just ask that you cover the shipping on it. My team is going to send that out to you. Technically, it's my daughter. She'll drop that in the mail for you, and you can actually read on exactly how you can make all of this a pure reality. I started with nothing, and in 4.5 years, got 25 homes producing a 6-figure residual income, and you could do the same. My friend, that was starting with no money. That was starting with nothing. So click below, get a free copy of the book. It also comes with a free game plan. Talk with a member of my team, and they'll actually show you from where you're at to how you actually make this a reality. Other than that, my friends, I've got another video teed up here. It's how I retired at the age of 26. It's recommended right over here. Check it out. Make sure you are a subscriber and smash that like button if you enjoyed today's video. It tells YouTube to share it with more people, and that's a give back to me. So my friends, I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's video.